Good morning, everybody. This is Andrew Sama here, Rap King of Polka Dot, with a tutorial on how to get the most bee wood from Carnage. I did stone last week. We're going to focus on wood this week. Hopefully, we'll be able to move on to iron and gold next week. Shout out to Tio once again, first place wood. I'm going to try. I got sixth place wood this week, but I'm going to try to shoot for first place. We do have Crimbo coming up this Sunday, so I'm going to try to make myself a big old Crimbo tree with all my wood I'm getting. One thing I really like about weightlifting is if the number is going up, you know you're doing at least some things right. If you can deadlift twice as much in a year that you can now, you did some things over that year that were healthy and good for you. And I kind of look at these Carnage numbers the same way. If you're starting by struggling to fill your inventory with stone, and after a few weeks of practice you are able to fill your inventory of stone, who cares about the value of stone? You just added some skills to your set that you're going to be able to use for other things. If you can deadlift twice as much as you could last year, that means you're going to be able to lift a heavier couch now, even though you haven't been practicing necessarily lifting couches. Same thing with this. If you can fill your inventory with stone, it will make it easier to fill it with wood. So if you don't feel confident that you can fill your inventory with stone, you should definitely go back to that video and start there. But if you have gotten to that point and you feel like that wouldn't be a problem for you, but you're still not sure how to fill your inventory with wood, that's who this video is for. Don't try to skip any steps. Don't try to say, screw stone, it's worthless, I'm going for wood. Take one game to fill your inventory with stone, or at least practice. You're gonna need the stone anyway. You see how the resources work. There's usually, you need a little bit of each one. So if you don't want to have to buy stone off of somebody, why not go practice that anyway? Okay, so on to wood. You only need one wood for every 3.5 stone that you would have gotten before if you're trying to get the same value. So if you got a full inventory of stone, you would only need 676 wood to get an equivalent value. That's only 11 stacks. So if you get 11 stacks of wood, that's the same as a full inventory of stone. And I'm going to show you that I think it is easier to get these 11 stacks of wood than it is to get the full inventory of stone, and then some. So for anybody whose name is on this list, look, I appreciate you, farming the stone, but I think you should try to graduate to this list. Try to get on the wood list next week. I think you can do it. And even if you can't, you're going to get more value in wood than you get for stone, and all it takes is a little bit of bravery, just trying something new. Maybe watching the rest of this video will help too. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so let's talk about some wood harvesting strategies. I think the number one concern people have is that you're up and out in the open. So first thing is you definitely need to make a boat. You need to sail way away from spawn. I like Lunar Client because it has this compass up at the top, and I just like to pick one direction, whether it be southeast, east, northeast, 240, 255, whatever, and I just like to travel that way until I find an area like this where it looks like nobody is. But yeah, you definitely want to get away from spawn if you can. Next is, it takes 2 wood to make a chest. So, 2 wood for an insurance policy. You need to make chests. No excuse for not using chests. Next is, where do you put this chest? Well, I think you want it someplace easy, accessible. I've tried a couple of times to dig it down and hide it way below the surface, but you've got to be able to get to it too. It's nice to be able to keep it away from other people, but you got to be able to get to it when you need it as well. So I think you want to keep it close to the surface. So that way if anybody goes to your chest, you see them, you know what they're doing, and you wait for that moment to come and surprise them and destroy them, move your chest to another place. So keep your chest at the surface, I guess is the short story. Where do you keep them? On the surface? I think dirt is the best place, under dirt, but dirt has this problem that when you dig it out and replace it, you get this. So where could you place this to where it doesn't seem unnatural and nobody knows that, you know, hey, there's something that's been dug out and replaced? Let me show you. Another good place to put them is that if you see a 2 dirt high wall, you take out this one, take out that one, put it there, and then boom, you've got access to your chest with just 1 dirt removed. Maybe you could hide it at the top of a tree, or another good place to hide it could be off of the cliffside in the water. Like this. Okay, now that you know how to make a chest and where to hide it, let's start talking strategy. How are you going to fill your inventory with as much wood as possible? First is you have plenty of time to harvest the wood. If you get started 30 minutes late, I still think you have enough time in an hour and a half to fill your inventory with wood pretty comfortably if you have a plan and you stick to it. I only use stone axes. I don't have time to go looking for iron, so you should only use a stone axe to harvest these. I think you'll have plenty of time to chunk this, rather than trying to make all of your axes at once. And you know, because if you get killed, you're going to drop all of those axes. So why not make the axes as you need them, so that way if something happens, you didn't waste a lot of time. So maybe you make 3 or 4 axes at a time. Stone axes are easy to make, the materials are easy to find, so that shouldn't be a problem if you have to restart. Now I want to show you how to cut these 4x4 trees, because I see everybody doing this wrong. I can't tell you how many times I walk up on 4x4 trees and the bottom's out and everybody left all the top up there. It's so, these trees are so awesome. Anyway, look, 1, 2, now you got to place the step, and you're going to want to step up 1, so you can climb the tree a little bit from the inside. If you repeat that process, you'll be able to make it all the way up. So here's how you make it repeatable. You basically cut 1 in front of you, the 1 above it, and then the 1 above you. So I like to do this pattern where I kind of sweep up. 1, 2, 3, jump, 1, 2, 3, jump. Wait, 3. Obviously, one more for the 1 by 1, so the 1 by 1 from here is tall, as the 2 by 2s. So that's when you do this, like this. Get all the way around. The nice thing is you got a little bit of room to catch people that are sneaking up on you. I'm saying at the end, you know, 1 4. Sure, maybe you're a little visible here, but maybe not so much. I'm maybe more visible here than the other. Get a whole lot of room. Running back on 1 tree here. I'll keep my lines 3 nice. Okay, now that I'm at the top of the tree, just start cutting down. Look at that, almost a stack and a half from 1 tree. I also think it's smart to collect wood near the area that you have your chest stored, so you can quickly return to it and not waste time heading back and forth to unload your stacks. So try to cut in a circle, or at least somewhere near where chest is. So let's say you filled that chest, and you cut all the trees in here, and you've got a row of that chest filled. Do you keep stuff in that one? I say no. I say you even leave that chest there, take a picture of the coordinates, and then move on to somewhere else. Go over there and go cut some trees, put a chest over there, and then fill one row of that. And by a row, I mean, this way. So if you could do that 4 times, you have 4 chests that have one row of wood in them. Then at the end of the game, you go back to all of those chests, you collect all the wood, and you're good. Now, maybe as the game gets closer, you start to condense some of the chests. Okay, so we talked about making chests, we talked about where to hide the chests, and then we've talked about, cutting trees effectively so that way we can fill these chests quickly. I think you should stop and drop off your wood every 2 or 3 stacks. So that means that after about 3 repetitions of that, you should have your chest filled in a row. I think you can see it's not going to take very long to fill up that row. It might take 20 minutes at most to fill up a row. I think probably less, maybe 15, even more than or less than that. So if you use 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and 20 minutes, you still have 40 more minutes left in Carnage to account for any mistakes and any chest visiting you need to do. So no rush. Take your time. Do it right. Play it safe. Everybody panics when it comes Carnage time. They don't realize that they just need to chunk it. Don't worry about the whole 2 hours. Try to be successful for 30 minutes. And then save your progress. So that way, even if you die, you come back to that and it's not all for nothing. It is worth your time to stop and fill your chests. And if you had practiced the stone video, you already have a feel for how this works. So now moving on to stone or wood is not much different. I don't try to battle any of the guys that come up on me. I mean, unless I really need to. I usually give them the little dance just to say, please leave me alone. And most of the time they play ball. If I get hit by a gang, what is fighting going to do anyway? So there's no point in gathering iron for armor. There's no point in, hiding. I think you just accept your fate that you're probably going to die and stuff some chests full of wood intermittently while that happens. You also could, after you fill up this chest here, you move on to that island over there and you fill up that chest. So that way you're just some water away from your other chests and you're able to fill up multiple chests in different locations. And at the end of the game, when you need to go gather everything, you can do so. I think there is a trade-off between having a lot of chests, which kind of provides you safety as far as one getting found, but then at the end of the game, you're going to have to go visit all of those chests and collect all the items. So you are vulnerable in the last 5 minutes to getting killed by somebody who sees you running around to your chests. So maybe as you build these chests, if you've got 3 out there already with a full row, maybe before you start the 4th one, you try to batch 2 of those together. Like take 2 of the chests and condense them down to 1. So that way you really only have 2 chests to go back to. But I think that's the name of the wood game there. It's how many chests do you bury? Where do you bury them? How do you condense the chests at the end of the game? Stuff like that. Considering that is going to get you a lot more wood than how do I defend myself when somebody kills me, or how do I fight off ticket gangs. Zig when others zag. And that's why I love Carnage, because we are all trying our best to find our spot, to find the weak spot. And I think sometimes it's in an unexpected spot. And if you're just aware and you're reflective and you're willing to take an L and try something else, that's when you'll find these weak spots. So I hope these videos are helping you guys find it. I'll admit, I think iron and gold is going to be a little bit tougher to find the low-hanging fruit there, but I'll do my best for you guys. Hopefully you've gotten enough out of it so far that it's worth your time. So thank you, and see you next week. Merry Crimbo.